Good evening and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on wearecavan.com.
We have a jam-packed show tonight, starting with we have minor football intermediate championship finals, we've got the senior championship relegation, we've all county football league games, we've got the ladies Ulster championship, all the action from the Hotel Kilmore senior, and we have the Hotel Kilmore senior championship preview as well, so jam-packed.
Well, first we're delighted to be joined by Kevin Madden, Vice Chairman of the Gowna Club, Barry Martin, the Chairman of the Gowna Club, Eddie Kiernan and Andrew Reynolds, the co-owners of a wonderful show called Emerald Storm that you'll be talking to us about it in a minute. Not only that, but Andrew Reynolds is also a pianist and vocals in that band as well, or in that show. But first, I suppose we'll talk to Barry and Kevin about this club fundraiser you're holding. It involves the lads behind you, so it does, Barry.
Yeah, well, we decided to book Emerald Storm there a month ago. They're getting great reviews throughout Roscommon, Longford area. So we came up with the idea to run well for developing our field at the minute. We're after putting in a new pitch, a new walking track, exercise machines. It's phase 4 of our development. So we're just trying to raise a few pounds towards it.
And
Kevin, tell us when exactly is the big night?
Well, it's on Saturday, 17th of October. It's commencing at 8:30 doors open at 8 o'clock. So
where is that taking place, Kevin?
it's taking place in the Kilmore Hotel at the road. So
And is it in the actual hotel or is it in the country club at the back?
it's in the country club at the back of the main hotel.
There's a fantastic function room as well. So
It is, yeah. The boys have been out to see it, so they're quite pleased with what they've witnessed so far. So they're looking forward to it as much as we are.
And I suppose, just to let people know, tickets, how can they get them?
Yeah, well, tickets are available locally. They're available in the local shops or from any member of the club, and around Cavan Town they're available at hotel reception or in multi-sound. They're available there either. Also available. The tickets are €20 each.
Good value.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, it's good. It's good value. It's an excellent show. As Barry has said, it has got great reviews already. So if it's a night's entertainment you're looking for, it's guaranteed to be a spectacular night. Yeah.
well, we come back to the two boys from Gowna now in a minute, so we will, because we do have a video of the what's happening out in Gowna at the Gaelic football pitch there at the minute. But we'll go to Eddie Kiernan. You're the co-owner of this show. Oh, Eddie, do you want to tell us how this show came about and what it's about?
Well, it's the Celtic themed show with music, song and dance. It came about, I suppose, we're 6-7 months formed, really. We had this idea, we've been talking about it for the past year, maybe even more, around my kitchen table at home and in the office, arguing over different things what we could do with it. But anyway, eventually it all came together, as I said, about 6 or 7 months ago. And it's been going very well for us. We're very, very pleased. We're at a stage, I suppose, now that we didn't think when we started that we'd be actually here at this moment in time. We're recording our CD at the moment, which we hope to have finished in January. January.
Won't have it out in time for Christmas.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done, but it's going very, very well. And we've also been invited to the States. So we hope to tour there in, I think it's March.
And you say it's about song and dance and music and the whole. What is that like? Is there a bit of acting in it? Is there a story to it, or is it just a band that's put together? Or?
Oh no, there's no acting there. There's no story attached to it at all. But it's all Celtic music.
Okay.
And lovely, absolutely. And I have to say the repertoire is pretty good. We're very pleased with it, and very energetic. It's a very energetic visual show. So the dance, we have 2 dancers.
Right.
We have 2 dancers, 4 singers, and 4 musicians. And it's a pretty big crew. So we have 3 technical people as well that travel with the sound and lighting and whatever. So that's basically.
Where have you toured so far? Where have people seen you? I've seen a bit of it on YouTube. I have to say, very impressed with it. Anybody who wants to get a preview, there is a clip up from, I don't know where the show was, but
yeah, our first show was Harvey's Point on the Goal. It was put together, very funny actually. We were booked for that gig but yet we had no musicians. We shouldn't probably say this. We had no musicians, no singers, and no dancers. But we said, you know,
You had an idea.
we had an idea.
Yes.
So we started with the idea. So we took the bull by the hand and said, you know something, we'll go for it. So luckily enough, 2 weeks before we landed the jackpot, we got our singers, we got our dancers, we got our musicians, because the pressure was on. So we had about 2 or 3 rehearsals in the head of Donegal. And we had a great night. And so what you would have seen on YouTube, it was grand, but it's not.
So that was the very first.
That was the very first ever performance. Like, I think we tried to run it in the community centre in Ruski for about 20 minutes on the Saturday before.
Yeah.
But that was the height of it. So from that, that went very well. We came from there to the Bushwood Helicart.
When was that?
That was in June,
June.
14th of June.
So it's that young, this
Oh
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But no, it works very well. From there to the Bush sold out. Went from there to, oh God, where did we go from the Bush? We had several gigs between that and this.
And they're
All
all-
sold out. All sold out. We're last Saturday night we were in Sligo in a place called Banatoher. We had 350 people at that. We had a fantastic night. The papal nuncio was at that because he happened to be in the parish that night. So not all groups can say that.
No.
So we hope to be singing for Pope Francis when he comes as well. If he's watching, I know he's not watching.
He might join in.
He might join in.
Regular tweeter to the place is what you're feeling.
Yeah, but as Eddie said, it's a very energetic show from start to finish. Starts on a very eerie note. There's strobe lighting, there's smoke effects.
Don't give too
down
much
the
of it away.
stage, and it explodes into this lively show. A couple of songs that I think everything we do, people would know. There's a lot of audience interaction that can join in with us. It's it's a great show.
How long does the show last?
We try to keep it to the 2 hours, but it can run over.
It's a bit like our show here. Tends to
Depends
run
on how
over.
much I have to say on the night, but yeah.
So when it's that entertaining, why stop?
Exactly. Where is it?
And where was the inspiration for the show? Where did it come from? Because
Well-
my looking at it slightly river dancey, sort of kind of that Lord of the Dance kind of a cross or a,
Yeah, we sort of call it sort of a cross between the High Kings and Celtic Woman. It's not polished like Celtic Woman because it's more. There's a lot more interaction and a bit of crack, and it's
More interaction with the audience.
with the audience. Yeah, absolutely. It's not. It was Eddie's idea really initially, and he wrote myself and my sister Emer into it. And as I said, the discussions went on for months and months around Eddie's kitchen table, and Emer and I were talking and saying, how are we going to tell Eddie that this isn't going to work? We're just not going to get anywhere with this. And but Eddie kept the pressure on, and Eddie's good friend Father Vincent Connerton kept the pressure on, and eventually we got there, and it just exploded really. Eddie sort of came up with the idea from the Carrickwater Music Festival. He had seen a group that they brought over from the UK and paid big money to. And he just said, you know, why do we have to bring over from the UK? There's talent around here, why do we just tap into it? So it came from there.
absolutely brilliant. And then from that point, where did the club get involved? How did you come across it?
One of our club members there, fundraising, Breda Brady, she was actually at the show they done a do for, I think it was Legia School, charity do, was it?
Yeah.
Done a charity do, and she was at it, and it was jam-packed and got a standing ovation. I think it was 3 on the night. So we said we'd try and tap into it, be the first in Cavan to get them on board. So they're new to Cavan, hopefully we fill the Gilmore, and I'd say there'll be lots more looking for them after.
And we have a video there, if Brian wants to get it ready, of the works that are going on out in Gowna. And lads, if you just want to just explain to the people why this fundraising is done and what you have done there in Gowna to be raising this money. So I'm sure Brian will put that on
while the
for us.
video's going.
Yeah. So if you just want to talk through this, lads.
Yeah, well, look, this is, as Barry said, this is the 4th part of a long-term project that we put in place back in 2004-2005, which part 1 was basically to develop a second training field because the one was excessively being used, and we needed with growing
I don't want to cut in across you, but I'm just after seeing a gym out in Gowna there. They never really needed a gym out there before. Why was it all of a sudden that just built a gym?
We were more used to picking the stones of the field, and we didn't need the gyms. But I suppose we had to.
Offices now.
We had to move with the times, and look at the gym in place in there, in upstairs, in over the dressing rooms, and that was the second part of our project, was the development of the clubhouse and the the dressing rooms and meeting rooms and all like that's up there. So the third phase then was the creating the walking track. It's like everything else, the roads has got dangerous for people walking at night, and a lot of, you know, elderly people in the community and not so elderly, they're just the safety of using a track, and it's fully lit up. And then the fourth part of it was there to redevelop the old training field. And as you can see from the clip there, we have exercise machines placed at different points around the walking track where you can loosen out those those sore limbs, you know. So all in all, as I said, the project has costed the club over 500,000, like, you know. Right. So there is a little bit of a carryover there that we're trying to clear off. So over and all, we're in a fairly healthy position though as regards the whole development. And you know, this was Brady brought this to the attention of the fundraising committee, and we grabbed it because, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a winner, like, you know. So look at
well, the facilities that you have are absolutely fantastic, and you look at the likes of Killygarry, who have done similar work out at their pitch to put a walking area in. The amount of people that's brought into the club as well, yeah. You know, like it's a real community thing, and then putting those little exercise areas around the track as well. Wonderful little ideas.
Yeah, well, the thing about, I suppose, the club now, it's catering with all age groups now, from the 4-year-olds right up to the 70 and 80-year-olds, and you have to provide for them all. And I suppose, yeah, as you said, Killygarry have a great facility out there, and they have you know, great numbers coming out there, and we'd be only a smaller community in comparison, but you know, as I said, we're still providing for all generations out there, so it's great from that point of view.
From anybody's point of view, just looking at that now, it's made me realise I don't think I've been out in Gowna in the last year or maybe more, because the last time I was out, the main field, the field that I'd have played football on, it was still the same way. It was still one end of it was a little bit heavier than the other. But I see it's you have drained it and levelled it as well, and that's where the new running track is around, or the walking track.
Yeah. It's the old field as such. We would call it the old field, but it was the original field.
Right. And is it now the training field, the main field?
No, the new field would be the training field as such, and it's all floodlit and everything. Mm-hmm. So, and then, as I said, this is just the redevelopment of the old pitch. So it has the stand there, and the walking track is around it. So
it's phenomenal. And actually, the last time I played it was about 2 years ago, but you had the hall and the whole complex built up, and big, massive dressing rooms. It's a big change in a few years.
Yeah.
They were tight enough, them dressing rooms.
Remember
before.
in the corner, all right. Yeah.
I think Cavan opened up the pitch last year. That they played against Longford. Is that right?
It'd be a couple of years. They opened the clubhouse. That'd be, I'd say,
that's right, it was the
probably
clubhouse.
2011. I'd say.
It's 2011.
Yeah, it's been like a few years now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So. Back in the day, but I suppose even talking about the club, everybody knows the success of the Southern Gaels amalgamation. It's been very beneficial to both yourselves and Lacken, but going back down, you're on the 12s, you're on the 14s, you have some talented young footballers coming through, Barry.
Yeah, we have great talent there coming, probably stemming from under 16 myself, and Kevin was involved there at the Southern Gaels. We done the Division 1 league, double league and championship, then back under 14 Division 2 league, but still going well in Division 1 championship. Then under 12 we're back in the final, and under 10s I think is after winning 2 or 3 blitzes this year, so there's serious work going in at underage. A lot of probably your last winning senior championship team, and there's probably 10, 12 of them boys all heavily involved in management
and their kids are actually playing.
Yeah, that
a lot of them. That's
probably from the 88 to the 94 or 97 era. Yeah. Their kids is coming. Kevin here has 4 boys.
Just a rake of them.
Kieran Brady, Joe Brady, the Hartons.
We had one.
Couple himself.
There's lots of talent coming there now at the minute.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how, in fairness, I think Gowna better than most they seem to be holding a small number of people, but holding it tight together and bringing on the next generation through that. It's a success story that I suppose other clubs are looking to replicate, because I know from our club in Drumalee we lose a lot of people that they grow up around Cavantown but then they move off, but in Gowna it seems to have been good enough to hold on to a certain amount anyway.
Well, I just want to say we were lucky about that most of the lads stayed around and were able to you know, get work and you know, got married and started new families, and that's, I suppose, has been.
And bring in a few Mullahorn women to help them.
Oh well, look, that was a side track.
That wasn't part of the plan. It just happened, wasn't it?
It just happened that way.
There was very few left in Gowna at the time with the spread outs and a little bit. Kevin, you're involved with the Cavan Legends team as well, the over 40s as they like to call it. Is it over 50s now? Or
No,
we're still over 40s.
Yeah. We'll just keep it to the masters. We like to say it's
how did that go for you this year?
Well, actually,
Still
we're
going.
very great. Yeah, we are possibly in the semi-final of the cup now. It still has one game left to play, but we should be in the shake-up for the cup.
Are you managing this year?
Semi-final. I'm managing, yes.
You're managing.
You're being. I was going to say you're being helped, but you're being hindered by Jimmy Galligan.
Jimmy does be there as a nuisance factor. Yeah.
No
Jimmy's
better
there
man
for
to
the
be a
arguments.
nuisance factor.
You need someone for
It's
that.
controversy, so he is. But look, lads, it's a wonderful fundraiser you're having. You're having it, as we said, the 17th of October in the Hotel Kilmore in the Country Club. Tickets are available for anybody in the club. From from Multi-Sound in Cavan Town as well.
And
They're
the
€20.
reception in Kilmore.
And the reception in the Kilmore as well. Our thanks to Eddie Kiernan and Andrew Reynolds from Emerald Storm. I think I have that right. The co-owners of Emerald Storm. And folks, get out and see this. As Damien says, we watched this on YouTube. Looks like it's a fantastic show, and it's only going to get better. You know, if you're this early in your career with it, it could only get better, lads. So best of luck with it. And the boys from Gowna are bringing it. They're first to bring it to Cavan, so they are. So best of luck with that one as well, lads. So hope it's a fantastic fundraiser.
Absolutely brilliant. So we're going to take a very quick commercial break, but join us in part 2, where we'll be looking back over all the action in the football scene around Cavan from the weekend gone by.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan Town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our one wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic? You can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.
So that was the lads from Gowna and from Emerald Storm. We just want to give them another quick mention out. So if you want to actually look, or maybe look to book Emerald Storm, you can go onto their website. It's emeraldstormshow.com, www.emeraldstormshow.com, or you can call them on 087 455 9097. That's 087 455 9097. So our thanks to all from Emerald Storm and from the Gowna Club who got in contact with us there.
And they're actually in Castlereagh on the 21st of November as well. That's the last part of the plug for us.
Absolutely brilliant. So look, we're going to move on. First up, we want to just bring the result from the Ladies Ulster Senior Football Championship, where Lorgan were travelling all the way over to the east part of the country. They're facing Castlewellan in the first round, and it finished a draw after extra time. It finished 114 to 17 points. A titanic battle. I know that Castlewellan bet Lorgan a number of years back, 3 or 4 years back when they were last in Ulster, but Lorgan got the draw away, and that means the replay, I think, is at home in Virginia this coming weekend.
Which will be absolutely brilliant. It'll be a huge boost to them. So everybody get out to that game. It finished 111 to 14 at a normal time, and then they both kicked on and got 3 points each in extra time. So great result for the girls from Lurgan, and everybody get out next weekend and support them in Virginia.
Yeah, hopefully home advantage is enough to drive them over the line. So congratulations to them. The second game was the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship relegation playoff. This was on Saturday, I think, and it was between Crushalloch and Drumgoon, and Crushalloch came away with a convincing victory here. 2 goals and 14 points to Drumgoon's 8 points. So that sees Drumgoon relegated now to intermediate status for 2016.
Yeah, the two teams relegated from 2015 are Drumley and Drumgoon back into intermediate for 2016. So best of luck to both clubs.
Yep. The third game that we're bringing you is the Farnham Arms Hotel Minor C Football Championship final. This was in Kingspan Breffni Park yesterday before the intermediate final, and it finished Den 3 goals and 10 points. Ballinya 2 goals and 12. It was a cracker.
Very quickly about this. This is a great game. Thomas Edward Donoghue, straight out of the blocks within 5 minutes, maybe even within 4 minutes, 3 minutes, he had 2 goals on the board, and it looked like the game was over. But it was 13 aside. There was a lot of space on the pitch, and Ballinya battled back, and they led at half time by 1-9 to 2-1, I think it was,
right.
Which was 12 points to 7. So they were 5 points up. Then Den in the second half came back and went ahead. Ballinya went ahead of Den. Then the closing stages, Den went back ahead and were winning by maybe 3. Well, they were winning by 4 points, and Ballinya got a goal. Then they got a point to draw level, and then the killer blow. Thomas Edward Donoghue got a ball on the end line, very like Micky Ling last year. Came in that he was along that part of the line, going towards the town end. Goal on, maybe a half chance, but he just flicked it over the bar. Very, very composed.
Good
very
pass
clever.
into him, in fairness, by Kevel Keoghan.
Yeah, who had a great game as well.
Very good game. And Michael Keoghan, another player that definitely deserves mention. But there was some phenomenal football on show with this, and this was minor C.
Yeah.
And yet, like, I could pick out any amount of lads. I thought Evan Finnegan was excellent.
I was just going to say Evan Finnegan.
Brilliant. Gavin Smith, Cormac Timoney, County under 16, absolutely brilliant in the middle of the field. Sean Keaton, what about his ball striking? He was just lethal.
Oh, God.
Kyle Tyler, another lovely wee footballer. Shane Finnegan. There were so many good footballers on the field.
It was such an exciting game of football to watch, and some great exciting footballers. And just to go back to Sean Keaton, like kicking the ball from 50 metres out to either side of the pitch, and sometimes scoring them, sometimes putting them wide, but they were hitting the net, and they were hitting it well up. Like that's some strike of a ball for a minor footballer, you know.
Yeah, and he's a good fielder of a ball as well. Big, strong Gus, and and then his younger brother, who I think is still under 16. Or maybe not, I'm not 100% sure, but he came on, another big, strong man. But then Bernard Gaffney, I thought, was very good as well. Oisin Kiernan couldn't start for Den, but he came on. He was very good. But I suppose the 3 forwards that really made a difference were Thomas Edward Donoghue, Kevel Keoghan and Michael Keoghan. They were all very, very good.
Yeah, and it was interesting to watch that they were trying to leave as much space up front as possible. They were taking James Wright and Conor Smith out a little bit and leaving as much space. But there was some scintillating football on the show. It was great.
And actually, not to forget mentioning the goalkeepers.
Yes.
Both had very good games.
Absolutely
Declan Smith
brilliant.
and Killian Finnegan.
Yeah.
Both were called to duty a few times and stood up and performed exceptionally well. So well done to Den. Congratulations on their victory. Commiserations to Ballinya, but there's no shame in being bet by a single point in such a quality, entertaining game.
Yeah,
and then Ballinya boys will be back.
They were very unlucky. The referee blew the whistle when they were in the middle of an attack on the 21-metre line, and you know, the time was up, I suppose. That's another thing, you know, and it was a discretion of the referee, but maybe had he let them take a shot, they could have got the point, could have gone wide as well, but they'll never know. But, you know, it was a great game, and credit to both teams, it has to be said.
And I will say, actually, Harry Connerty had a good game. A good game. That decision, sometimes referees let that play out, but he was perfectly within the rules to blow it up when he blew it up. So, but yeah, very entertaining.
There was a couple of league games as well played on the weekend, and the Kiernan Service Station ACFL Division 1 A, round 8, Ramor were playing Mullahorn, and Mullahorn came away with an away victory here, 1-9 to 1-6. Ramor really in favour of Mullahorn. Ramor just we're flying, and all of a sudden just hit a bad patch.
Yeah, but then this game was more important. As we'll see, we have the tables just coming up here on the screen for you in a minute. But yeah, you can see them there up and up. Mullahoran needed that victory because it now puts them on 8 points. Before this, they were down on 6 points, which had them second bottom on the table. So they basically have jumped from second bottom to fourth on the table with that victory there. So they badly needed that. And as Paul Fitzpatrick regularly says, whose need is greater? And it was definitely Mullahoran. Ramo were sitting in second position there.
Yeah.
You know, the win would have put them top, but they're still probably going to qualify for a semi-final in that division anyway.
That's it. And looking at that table, we've round 9 to go, the last round of that league, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams still could end up. Any of those 7 teams on between 8 points and 7 points could end up in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
So they could. So it's phenomenal to see Cavan, Gales and Ballinya at the bottom of that table. Either of them could be relegated either, you know. So
yeah, and those games, the last round of the Kieran Service Station All County Football League will be played on the 18th of October. So that'll be a very interesting afternoon.
Absolutely.
So the other All County Football League game that took place was between Muncher Connacht and Belturbet. This was in Division 2, and it saw Belturbet come away with a massive victory, 4 goals and 17 points to Muncher Connacht's 1-6. This was up in Muncher Connacht, and you can see on the tables that's coming up on your screen how that affected it. Belturbet needed the win. Muncher Connacht probably needed the win to have any sort of a hope of avoiding a relegation playoff, but actually it didn't even make a difference when we look at it. But what it does do at the top end of the table, it brings Belturbet from 10 points to 12 points, which means now with 1 game left, they're guaranteed at least a playoff.
well, yeah. Oh yes.
They're guaranteed the playoff for promotion.
Yeah.
So Swan and Bar, I know in this division, play Ballybor in their last game. The losers of that will play Belturbet in a playoff for promotion. The winners will be automatically promoted. So, and then it leaves it a difficult enough position because the relegation playoff spots are Muncher Connacht are 1 team in it, and then Ballymacue, Killincare, Lara or Butler's Bridge can all end up in that relegation playoff.
Shercock, could they end up in it because they're on 9 points?
No, because Shercock are playing Ballymacue.
Right.
So if Ballymacue were bet, or Shercock were bet,
Ballymacue go to 9 points.
Yeah.
Killincare are playing Butler's Bridge. Yes, so Killincare,
Killincare
Killincare and Butler's Bridge won't make.
Won't make 9. But both of them can't make 9.
Exactly.
So, and Lara's last game is against Drumalee in that division as well, and Killincare play Butler's Bridge in the last game. So it's all to play for. That'll be another very interesting close to it. On the 18th again.
Are all those games being played on the 18th of October?
I think so, yeah.
Excellent. So that's the ACFL Division 2 tables, and we'll move on now to the Brady's of Arva Volkswagen Breffni League Division 1B semi-final. This took place on Saturday, and Killycarry were playing Killashandra. High scoring game to say the least in this one. 4 goals and 15 to Killygarry, 3 goals and 10 to Killashandra. That's some scoring.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, it's not unbelievable because
both teams are really attacking,
and they've been free scoring throughout the championship. You know, they've been very attack minded, and it's no real surprise.
It's a rare day you'd score 3-10 and lose unless you're playing hurling.
It's a very rare day, in fairness. And actually, speaking of that, I just want to put on notice that I think last Wednesday night, we were doing the broadcast of the hurling final, which Cootehill went on and won. Can you recall the scoreline?
Yeah, 7-4.
7-4. And
7 points to 4.
7 points to 4. Okay, because Paul Fitzpatrick said that it was probably the lowest scoring game that will happen in any championship final. But I seen today the Leitrim County final finished 1-3 to 7 points. So there was the same amount of scores.
Close.
It was close. We almost caught Paul out.
Yeah.
But we'll keep a watch for all the rest of the county finals. So that was in Division 1B. So Killygarry progressed on to the final. I'm not sure who's in the other semi-final of that, but I think it's Arva against somebody in that. So. The Breffni League Division 2 semi-final saw Butler's Bridge taking on Lara on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock in St. Philip's Park, and the Bridge came away with a victory here. A 1-point win. It finished 13 points to 1-9.
Yeah, good win for Butler's Bridge, and they obviously have had a great season, and they've kept it alive here as well. There will be silverware on offer for them at the end of the year, which would be great for Butler's Bridge. They're having a great year, it has to be said.
Yeah, they'll be looking forward to that. Anyway.
And then in the Riverfront Hotel, the Riverfront Hotel Breffni League Division 3 semi-final saw Drung taking on Templeport, and I'd say Templeport must have had a hangover because they lost this one quite severely. It was 3-19 to Drung. Templeport 14 points, 28-14, double scores, and Templeport are still on the wagon by the looks of things.
Well, that's it. Maybe so, maybe not. Drung's still an intermediate team, and you know they're operating in the same division, but they're an intermediate team nonetheless. So maybe just Drung were that bit stronger. But I would say it comes back to that same point: whose need is greater?
Yes, of course.
Drung really want to push on, and they're still in the hunt for promotion as well. So that brings us on now to the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate Championship football final, which saw Ballyhaise taking on Arva in what was just an epic, an absolute brilliant game. Last year's final was possibly a bit of a letdown, but this year's final lived up to the billing. Absolutely,
it has to be said, and for Ballyhaise to bridge a 47-year gap and win their first intermediate since 1968 on a scoreline of 2-13 to Arva's 1-14. Phenomenal scenes around Kingspan Breffni Park. I have to say, commiserations to Arva. They threw absolutely everything, the kitchen sink and everything that was in the kitchen sink at Ballyhaise. And, if they had won it, you couldn't have denied them it either. But, they'll be back. They're a really good team. That's 3 finals in a row that they've been in. Ballyhaise, their second intermediate final in a row, and always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Well, we can put that one to rest anyway.
Exactly,
so we can.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And all those myths and rumours and stories about Ballyhaise not being able to do it, they done it. They finally done it.
Did it the hard way as well.
They did, because they got off to the perfect start. They got we
go through the game, because the game
they got the 2 goals in the first half, one from Kevin Tierney, which was a goal from absolutely nothing. Yeah. He hadn't got a goal opportunity on, and just with sheer power and a little bit of speed and a little bit of skill and great finishing ability, he managed to create a goal
out of nothing. It looked like he was going to go for a point, dummied back onto his left. He was along the end line and just nearly took the roof of the net out of it, so he did. But it has to be said, Arva could not deal with Kevin Tierney in the first 20 minutes of that game. He was absolutely outstanding. He did everything everything good that happened to Ballyhaise. He was involved in it, and he set up Stephen Smith as well for his goal. He was just awesome. There was nothing you could do to stop him. His strength, his power, and eventually Arva did drop Kieran Brady back in front of him.
Well, I think it was more. I think what they made a substitution and they brought on Danny Ellis, and played him as a sweeper. And because Kieran had elevated back into that position to try and stop it out, and I think the Arva management realised Kieran Brady in the hole there is no good to us. We need him driving forward. So they brought on Danny Ellis, and they were 6 points down at that stage, and they managed to maintain that sort of 6 point. They didn't go any further behind. They stopped the bleeding.
Exactly. Yeah. But you look at the Ballyhaise team and the players who were on it this year who weren't on it last year. Eamon Brady, Eamon Costello, David Brady,
Marcus Duffy,
Stephen Smith, Marcus Duffy. And they were all outstanding. Martin Connery was outstanding as well. And then you look at the forward line, Porrick Tierney, who I thought did a great game.
Porrick Moore,
Kevin Tierney, Colin Riley dropping back, getting on ball.
I have to say, for Colin Riley, because he'd been coming on in the game so far in the championship up to this point, and I thought, geez, is this a wise decision starting him? He hit a brilliant first half. Now, he ran out of steam in the end and put his hand up and came off, but he done so many simple things right. Link play, short passes, some long passes, but his work rate, constantly going, running. Absolutely brilliant performance by a veteran, in fairness to him.
True.
He was a bit annoyed at being called one of the older statesmen in the Anglo-Celt. Well, I'm going to confirm because he's older than me and he's still playing, so call him, I don't care what. You can be annoyed all you want.
I think you're even older than me, Colin,
I know, I wouldn't go that far.
But definitely, he's got less hair than me.
I don't know about that either. I don't know. But no, delighted for Colm. Delighted for the likes of Colm, Stephen Smith, Eamon Costello. Like, I was recalling a good number of years back in 2004, 2005, we played Ballyhaise in the
2005, intermediate semi-final.
And Eamon had a free, and he was after having a brilliant game, and he missed a free. It wasn't an easy one, but it was to level up the game, and he missed it. And I remember him telling me after that he got a lot of abuse, that people in Ballyhaise got at him about it, and it hurt him bad. And that to me was bad form, because Eamon always went out, done his best, tried his hardest. He didn't deliberately miss the free. It was just one of those evens. And it wasn't
serious pressure kick as well.
Either. I remember there was a good strong wind. So, but for players like that have soldiered on, that have continued to work, continued to battle year in, year out, the easiest thing for them to do after being the bridesmaid so many times would be to quit. But no, they kept coming back, they kept soldiering on, and delighted for them. Barry McCrudden.
I was just going to say, one man you forgot to mention, Barry McCrudden, turned 40 last week, you know, and I went out and did an interview with him afterwards, and just how appreciative he was, and just how humbled by the whole thing, and it's not going to kick in. The man has played in 3 intermediate finals.
That's right.
You know, he's played in an Ulster final. He's played in numerous games and lost them, big games and whatever. And like, to eventually, at 40 years of age, get over the line and get that win.
And just to come
fantastic.
on, I have to also say I commend John Brady for his management, his decision making, because there was a period in the second half when Ballyhaise looked like they were rocking. There was a few of the younger players that were starting to panic, were making silly, rash tackles, like they were. And credit to John Brady, he obviously had this in his mind. He brought on a bit of experience. Shane, Scotchy Kieran came on, done very well. Barry McCrudden, and they just steadied the ship when the whole thing seemed to be rocking, and you were kind of saying, "Oh God, are we going to see this again from Ballyhaise?" But no, them boys come on and steadied the whole thing, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant management and good use of it. And credit to the lads, not whinging about being left on the bench, getting stuck into it and saying, "Listen, this is my role," and it's equally as important a role as any man who started.
That's the thing.
Without them lads being able to come on with a cool head at the right time, that game could have been lost.
And it's funny, because I talked to a lot of the players after the game, and a few of the subs as well, like, and they all had team ethic. You know, that was what it was about. And Barry McCrudden especially knew as well, and Scotchy. But John Brady instilled something in them this year, and he called around. We're saying that he called around when he took over the team. He called around to the houses, to the likes of the Eamon Costellos and the Stephen Smiths and the Barry McCruddens. He called around to the houses and he says, "Look, lads, this is your year. You can do it. You know, just give me everything that you've got. Come back and give it everything you've got, and see how far we can go." Yeah. And he got something out of them that no other manager has got out of them, because and that's nothing against any of the other managers that they've had, but you look at the games they've had from quarter final. Butler's Bridge down by 3-4 points, came back and won it. Drumlane the same, down by 3-4 points.
No, we were down by one. But it was at a crucial stage in the second half. Yeah.
And they come back and they win it. And then this game, they went 6 points ahead, and a team came back at them. They did rock a little bit. Yeah. Arva did put them to the pin of their collar.
The goal after half-time by Jonathan McCabe put 3 points in it, and all of a sudden it was up to the key players as well. Stephen Smith's 3 points in the second half was so crucial.
Absolutely.
2 frees, one from free, one from open play. But just there were at crucial stages, because there were at points when Arva had got 3 points, and then all of a sudden Ballyhaise needed a reaction. It was Stephen Smith at the other end. Like I have to say, I thought Stephen was phenomenal.
1-6.
Yeah, 1-6 in total.
You know.
Like, that brings him. I was trying to look up. I didn't get time to finish it out today, but look up his total score. I think he's over 130 in 4 games. That's just phenomenal. Yeah, unbelievable score, and I can't see anybody getting ahead of him for player of the championship.
That's you know, who could you look at? You could look at a few players, but you'd have to be looking at him. Yeah. You know, definitely for the intermediate player of the year. And then just to go through the Arva team, because you know, they were fantastic, so they were. Jonathan McCabe had some game there, so he did. Kieran Brady.
Jonathan McCabe showed that he's not just a good finisher, he's not just a speedy ball carrier or a good passer, he can give high fielding as well. Yeah. He caught 2 or 3 balls out in the middle of the field, and then somehow was on the end of them as well, putting them over the bar. Like, he finished with 1-3, a phenomenal performance, all from open play. this is one for the future, and I think he's on the 21 next year. Can't wait to see him play. Gavin.
Fantastic. And again, I'm saying it again about the championships, but Bar will say Stephen Smith, right? You're looking at it. It's the young fellas that have stood out once again, you know, as well. You know, you mentioned Marcus Duffy, you know, Pádraig Moore,
David Brady, Martin Connerty.
You know, David Brady as well, who had a great game, ran out of steam a little bit, maybe because intermediate takes a lot out of you, and he's still only a young fella. He took some big hits. He did some great fielding as well. Did some very great, very simple things on the ball, win the ball, laying it off.
Can I clear up one thing, because we had a lot of people getting on to us on wearecavan.com about the red card that Conor Lyons received. So I actually, before the show today, I rang Conor Dineen, the referee, to have a chat with him, ask him exactly what happened. So he filled me in that there was an incident with a number of players involved, and Conor Lyons was receiving a yellow card from that incident. So he went over, gave the yellow card to Conor Lyons.
Had already given one, had he?
He'd given one earlier on in the
first
half.
And he forgot, he didn't realise.
No, he had realised, but basically, while he was given the yellow card, then he was getting word in his ear from a linesman to say that yellow card Ballyhaise 14. And so he was saying to him, sorry, is that for a different incident or the same? And he just got yellow card Ballyhaise 14 back. So then he went to talk to the linesman to make sure that there wasn't something that he missed out on. So basically, when he spoke to the linesman said, no, you're right on your yellow card there, but there's also a yellow card for Ballyhaise number 14. So then after speaking with the linesman, he went over, produced the red card for Conor Lyons, which was the follow-on from the two yellows. So it was 2 yellows followed by a red, and then he gave Kevin Tierney his yellow card. So that's how it all worked out. That's exactly what happened. So it's good to have it cleared up. And I do want to say we do give referees abuse well, not abuse, but openly. We'd
be critical of some referees,
when we find it. But Conor Dineen had an excellent game.
Yeah, it has
and
to be
that
said.
was a tough game. And I will say he got one call right that I have to commend him, because too many referees aren't allowing it to go. James Morris absolutely caught Kevin Tierney flush on with his shoulder.
And Kevin Tierney will agree with you.
Couldn't have been better. It couldn't have been a better shoulder. And Conor Dineen let the play go, and rightly so. Far too often in Gaelic football we're seeing that a shoulder isn't a shoulder that has been given against.
It was too hard of a shoulder.
It was too hard of a shoulder. But I will credit Kevin Tierney, because it was a cruncher. He didn't drop the ball. He got rid of the pass, and then he had to go down.
Well, then he got rid of the pass, looked to see if he could help out anybody or whatever, if the ball was going to come back to him. Ball went down the other end of the pitch, and he went, Jesus.
Went down. And it was an absolute spine-tingling, unbelievable hit. But Kevin Tierney is so physically strong. As somebody said, if Morris had got the chance to do it earlier on, maybe it would have had a different outcome on the game, you know.
But then, just as you mentioned injuries as well, and we're going through the Arva team, Kevin Boucher, who was absolutely incredible, absolutely having a fantastic game. He ended up just getting his ankles clipped or something. He hurt his knee anyway.
His knee, he
hurt his knee in a collision. He was stretchered off. He says, no, I want to go back on there. He got a little bit of a rub down and whatever. No, he wasn't 100% fit to go back on. But in that period when he was off, it was in 6 minutes in the second half. For the next, we'll say 13 minutes before he came back on, because he came back on just around then. In that period, Ballyhaise had a dominance over Arva. Because
they extended the lead to 2 points.
They went from
5 points.
To 5 points.
Yeah,
they went 2-10 to 1-8 up before Kieran, before the goal for 2-10 to 1-8
before Kieran Brady's next point.
Next point, yes. And
only point
in that period, he was a huge miss. And then he came back on. And you could see he wasn't fit to shoot.
Not 100%.
But his play, kicking the ball left and right into space for the lads to run off.
It was inspirational, and that's the sort of stuff that young lads should be looking at when you want inspiration and role models. Kevin Boucher being stretchered off, you could see he was in a lot of pain. I would say it could have been a dislocated knee or kneecap or something like that. He was in a lot of pain, stretchered off. went to the sideline. You could see him then when he got down to the sideline kind of saying, no, hold on a second, this might be all right, get me off this stretcher, and then trying to stand, 2 lads holding him, and him just moving the leg up and down and trying to get movement into it, and then trying to walk, and he was limping, and then even though he was limping, trying to jog, and you're just going, this is just brilliant. What a man, absolutely brilliant.
It has to be said, and then commend the lad, and you never know, had he been on for those 7 or 8 minutes, you know, it could have made a difference, because even when he came on, he took a few frees and 45s, and it looked like he was shooting, and then he popped them left or right into the space for the lads to run on to the short kicks and whatever. I suppose you have to give Jonathan McCabe a huge mention. Then Kieran Brady, James Morris at full back as well.
Like he done very well considering he's on what is probably one of the best footballers.
Correct, yeah.
Like, and physically very strong, Kevin Tierney. So like it took him quite a bit of time. I suppose you have to look at the second half. Kevin Tierney didn't score.
Yeah, true. Didn't score.
Morris had an effect on it.
In fact, there was one free that Kevin Tierney was about to take. It was near the 45, and it was on the right hand side of the pitch, and it suited a left-footed kicker. And Stephen Smith came out and took it. And it was a phenomenal free. He took it with the right foot. And it didn't suit the right-footed kicker. And he curled it in.
But he took one with his left foot as well. That was on the 20-metre line on the right-hand side of the goal, only maybe 10 yards, 15 yards in off the sideline. And you were saying, geez, you've got Kevin Tierney here. You know, it's not your strong foot, but credit to Stephen Smith. Like,
has to be said.
Just a huge credit to all involved. And I suppose a thanks for giving us an unbelievable entertaining game of football. And I also want to just thank everybody out in Anthony Brady's pub in Ballyhaise for Friday night. We had the Up for the Match. It was great entertainment, a great crowd there, good banter. And then on Saturday
Susan Brady
night,
at it?
She was indeed, yeah.
Was she? Was she quiet?
No, of course not. but then on Saturday night we were in the Breffni Arms in Arva as well, and another absolutely brilliant night. And the Arva people were just so welcoming. I have to say, it was an unbelievable weekend. I really enjoyed it. Lots of good football people, and you know
that was the horrible thing.
Horrible,
such good footballing people on both sides, and someone had to lose, and unfortunately it was Arva. You couldn't begrudge Ballyhaise an intermediate championship.
And you know Arva are going to be back. They're going to do it at some stage. You know, they've such a young team, they've such talent coming through. Look, that's not the end of this Arva team
fantastic
in
footballers,
intermediate
absolutely
championship.
brilliant.
They'll push on. So we're going to take another very quick commercial break, but join us where we'll be previewing the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship Final this coming Sunday. We'll have interviews from both camps, from the Kingscourt camp and the Castlereaghan camp, but that's all to come in part 3 of Gaelic Football Views.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan Town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our 1 wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic, you can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.
Welcome back, folks, to part 3 of Gaelic Football Views on wearecavan.com. We're going to look ahead now to the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship Final this coming Sunday in Kingsbrown Breffni Park at 3 o'clock. It sees Castlereaghan taking on Kingscourt in what's going to be a very interesting game. I think going to be a tactical battle more than anything.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say as well. Both teams play a very similar style. Like to get an early lead and then see out a game. They defend deep. and
Yeah,
look for a few.
it's funny actually talking to Niall Lynch, which we'll see coming up later on. Although, no, well, sorry, actually, when I was talking to Niall Lynch and I said about the 2 defensive teams, and he said, well, we're not a defensive team. We might retreat when we get tired, but we're not going out to be defensive. And then I thought about it after, and I thought they're not really, because all the games so far this year, Kings Court have gone into 5-6 point leads and then nearly lost the lead as well in those games. So they're not the same type of defensive as Castlerahan.
No, Castlerahan will get 13 men behind them.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
whereas
Kings Court
we'll
will
drop 2 extra men back,
maybe
3
at most. Yeah. That's it. It is.
But they're very good at defending a lead.
Exactly.
They're very Kings Court are very, very good at defending a lead with less numbers.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of way.
they probably are placing more or a lot of trust in their defenders to do a man-to-man job.
Well, pound for pound, if you look at it, if you were to ask me in the back,
And I am going to ask you.
If you were, well, ask me. If you were to put the 6 backs of Castlerahan and write down the 6 backs of Castlerahan and write down the 6 backs of Kings Court, not bringing back your defensive system or anything like that, who would you say has the better 6 defenders? And I would actually say that it's Kings Court have the better 6 defenders.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Barry Tully, you look at Alan Clark, you look at Shane Gray, you look at
Pádraig Faulkner, Rory
Sheridan.
They're all playing very well.
Exactly, you know, and really, really good, big, strong defenders.
And the funny thing about Castlerahan is, if you were to say who are their backs, Paul Smith's obviously playing very well.
Great.
He's playing as a defender all the time. But like Cormac Daly is full backed out at midfield. Caelan McBreen, is he a defender? Is he a forward? Ronan Flanagan, is he a forward? Is he a defender?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many on the Castlerahan team that they're playing all roles.
But that's it. They play very like Donegal. You know, and McBreen and Flanagan would probably take up the Carl Lacey role, or
Martin McHugh,
and they'd swap,
or
Ryan McHugh, or whatever. And it's all about getting the numbers back and getting their runners on the ball.
Yeah.
It's going to be, as you said, tactical battle. Kings Court and Niall Lynch, an absolute tactical genius, you know, and we've seen that over the years with Niall Lynch. It has to be said, Niall Lynch is one of the top managers, if you ask me, within the county. He's been involved with county panels as well, and then you've got Michael Riley as well. And you know, he's come into Castlerahan and he's continued with that style that they have kind of mastered over the last
which I have to commend them on, because a lot of managers you see coming in and they want to change everything, and they want to say, oh no, this is my team and my stamp, and you know, it takes a good manager to realise, do you know what, they've a lot of good things right here, and their defensive system was a positive for them. Like, it mightn't be looked as positive football, but they were good at it. They were very good at it. And for somebody to come in and then try to rip that out would have been stupid. But Michael Riley, to his credit, decided, no, I'm going to use this to my advantage and make sure that it builds me a good team. So, that's why tactically it's going to be so interesting, because you have 2 very good managers.
Yeah, and both of them had indifferent starts to the championship, very poor starts to the championship, but they've gradually got better. They've gradually got fitter, and they seem to be peaking at the right time.
And they're gradually getting players back, both of them.
Both of them are getting players back. And, you know, it looks like they're both going to have a full squad to pick from for the final, which would be absolutely brilliant. You know?
Yeah, like, and when you look at both squads, you're going to look at the bench and say there's 4 or 5 players on both panels that would make probably most senior teams in the county. So they're, you know, it's not just going to be the 15 players that start that'll end up winning this one. But what we will do is, if we can we've a couple of videos lined up, or we've 4 actually, and there's 4 in total. Imagine unfortunately there's a bit of an imbalance, and I'll have to take full responsibility for that imbalance. There was
down to the laptop.
Well, the laptop failed me, but it is my laptop, so I'll take responsibility for it. But I think we could start off. We've got one video here where I interviewed Noel Barkey, the chairman of Castlerahan. The chairman of the Castlerahan Club, Noel Barkey, ahead of the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship final Sunday week. I suppose it's a wonderful occasion for the club to be involved in.
It is indeed, Damien. And for myself, it's an honour to be back in as chairman and to be back in the final the second time to go this road. And I hope from my experience and the experience of the players that was there in 2011 that we're going to get over the line now in 2 weeks' time or a week's time.
Yeah, you can see the sense of occasion as you drive into Ballygym and stuff. I have to say it's full of colour, full of flags. It's everybody seems to be having a bit of a pep in their step. It doesn't just affect the club; it affects the entire community.
That's right. In the whole way, all the parish of Castlerahan is in the team this time. But as like the last time, we put a great effort into it. They're proud of the boys, and they'll do everything they can to get the boys over the line. Any support we want, we can get from around, either around the town or around the parish. And we have to compliment everyone for what they've done so far, and just keep with the boys and support them over the Sunday week.
I suppose just to take the opportunity, there's obviously a lot of businesses have to get involved and maybe help out, because it is costly to make a county final, but the local businesses have been very good to you.
Of course, and never hesitate to help us out. It's only a matter of phone call sometimes, and they're right behind you whenever we want a bit of finance. That's one thing about Castlerahan. Thankfully, we're in good stead, and we continue to keep it that way. That's due to good committee work over the last number of years, and it's paying dividends now that we're in good state. Get a good kind of final now, and that'll put the cream on the tart.
Exactly. Just looking here, the bunch of players that you have they're incredibly committed. I suppose we mentioned earlier on that they've got really good role models, but all the way down to the minors, that their level of effort is phenomenal in Castlerahan.
It's unbelievable now. I attended nearly all the training sessions this year, and as the vice was told earlier on, we haven't had that nest to talk to at any training session. That's a joy to watch. When you come to a training session, maybe even there in February when bad or wet out night, and see people like that turn up from different colleges or work or whatever places, and it makes our job easy. We're willing to put our shoulder to it and push them on, because when you see the young boys doing that effort, that means a lot.
Yeah, I suppose it's nearly reciprocated, because if they see the committee doing the effort, they'll also work harder. But a brief word about your manager, Micky Riley, comes in, first year in charge. He had a very good league campaign as well, and now into the championship final. He's done a great job.
He has indeed. It's been a pleasure working with Michael now. As I say, we set up a committee early in the year to look for a manager, and we settled on Michael, and we had talked to him a few times before we offered the position to him. He took the position, and it's the best thing we've ever done. He's cool, calm, but still knows the stuff, and knows how to handle fellas. You know, every player is different, and Michael has got in on that very quickly and knows how to do it, and is showing the dividend now, and we hope that we can give him the title now as well.
Yeah, he's ably assisted though by some local lads.
That's right. Like that too, we went out to search for a couple of selectors, and we found Andrew Farley and Ori McBride, and their commitment is unbelievable. Both busy men, both jobs and sideline things going on, and family, but yet they put in the effort, and they're part of the team, and I think they're enjoying it as much as we all are. We're all enjoying it because we're doing well and we're in the county final.
Yeah, I remember watching Ori play a number of years back. Now it's probably a very long time ago, all right, but he was a tremendous, gutsy, determined wee footballer. Not the biggest of men, but he made up for with heart.
That's right, and what I see about him there now is he's very much into the fitness end and what muscles are, and what he can explain to the player what muscle is and what it's supposed to be doing and what's not supposed to be doing. And the players acknowledge that, and if you have someone in the club that can do that for you, that's a big asset.
It's a huge asset, and you have lots of good assets within the club. We look at we wish you the very best of Nolan. Thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much, Damien.
Cheers. So that was the chairman of the Castlerahan Club, Noel Barkey, who's back in his second term. Unfortunately, as I was saying before the clip, that I lost it, or the videos, the files got corrupted for Michael Riley and for the captain, Stephen Cooney. But basically talking to the two lads, they're quite relaxed, definitely very relaxed, looking forward to the challenge. Even though there's a lot of hype up around Ballygym stuff, they're still focused on the fact it's a game of football. They were both kind of saying that it was very important to realise that it is just a game of football, that we have to win. There's no point in getting caught too much in the occasion. We have to focus on making sure that that we're ready for the game. But they have David Ritt back and available, Sean Brady back and available. Bit of an injury doubt is Barry Cusick. Michael Riley told me that he was probably 70% not going to make it. So that's a bit of a loss. But
they're lucky to have lots of strength. Now, we also spoke about the younger players in Castlerahan that are on the panel now that weren't maybe involved in 2011 when they were beaten by Cavan Gaels in the final. The likes of the Cormac Daly's, Fergal Riley's, and the Flanagans. Those lads they were under 14 or under 15 or under 16 or something around that stage. So they are a big addition. And Cormac Daly, for me, I was saying to the lads that I think he's been a huge asset to Castlerahan this year.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's such an honest player. He goes out and he gives it 100% every week. And he's a 21 metre line to the other 21 metre line player. He's not from 45 to 45. He's from one goal to the other all the time. He's been outstanding. He's been kicking scores as well from midfield, and he's kicking frees as well. And, that's something that if you can get those extra scores coming from your midfielders, you'll go a long way.
Well, what he's bringing for me to the Castlerahan team is what they have been lacking, is that they always had lovely footballers, good pace, they had all that, but they were lacking physique. And now they have Cian McEnroe, Cormac Daly, Brian Coleman, big strong man as well. Then David Ritt, hopefully he's back for them to bring that extra bit of height, physique to it. So
Micky as well is tough, strong,
big strong fella. So like they're starting to look like a big enough, strong enough team, and you need the balance of it all. You need the pace, you need the nice footballers, you need the physical strength, you need something in each of those departments.
I think pound for pound they'll be a little bit smaller than Kingscourt.
Yeah, completely agree.
They will be a little bit smaller than Kingscourt. Kingscourt are an older team, they're a more experienced team, but they're well filled out. All the players are well filled out, so they are big, strong lads. Now, Castlerahan are in transition. They're getting there. These younger lads have moved from, we'll say, under 16 to minor to under 21, and have built up slowly. Still have a few years to catch up on Kingscourt. But then, will the weather determine how this game goes? We look at Templeport and Cornafane, similar stature of players, we'll say. Cornafane were bigger than Templeport, but the weather suited really fast, lovely flowing football on the day. Would a good day kind of suit Castlerahan better, do you think? Yeah,
I think it would. I think it possibly would. But having said that, then Kingscourt are lovely footballers. I wouldn't think they'd have the same amount of pace in the team. They're not a slow team by any amount, but Castlerahan to me are an exceptionally quick team. But Kingscourt they play a lot of long kick passes, like spraying the ball around, and then they have Dara Gunn, who's having the season of his life inside there. They have the young Peter Corrigan, who for me has been just phenomenal, and
brilliant.
Yeah, and as it's been pointed out by all of the Kingscourt lads, like he's been absolutely brilliant to bring into the panel. So Kingscourt, although he's probably the only minor that's on the team or of that age, they still have Pádraig Faulkner's only 21 maybe. Like they still have a little bit of youth, but it wouldn't be as young a team probably as Castlerahan. But I don't know. I think the bookmakers have it right. I think they have it even money and 11 to 10 or something like that. So
it's so hard to call. It really is. But Damien obviously went to Castlerahan. I went down to Kingscourt as well with Damien as well last week and got a couple of interviews. And just one of the lads that we interviewed was Barry Tully, who's just coming back from injury. Fantastic footballer who was outstanding in last year's county final and was in there for man of the match.
Yeah, very close.
Very unlucky not to get it. But we'll go to that interview with Barry Tully now.
Joined now by Barry Tully. Barry, big year for Kingscourt. You have played 9 games already to get to the championship final, but you've made it. Long way around, bridges are there.
We're there. Not exactly the route we would have picked, but the main thing is we're there, where we wanted to be.
And not only that, but you lost the final last year. Has that driven you on to get back to a championship final this year?
Oh, big time, yeah. We felt that if we had 15 men for the final last year, for the full game, we think we would have won it. So hopefully this year now we can put it right.
And in the last 2 games as well, Cavan Gaels and Killygarry in the weekend, you lost a man in the second half again, but you showed character to come through those 2 games.
Yeah, look, it's not ideal to lose a man at any stage, so it's definitely something we'll have to work on, because Castlerahan's going to be a tough opposition with 15 men, let alone 14, so we'll just have to keep our heads and hope for the best.
We arrived in there just at the end of the training session, but there seemed to be a great atmosphere around. There was a bit of laughing and joking. Did you put in a hard session before that?
Oh, we did, surely. We must have been the guts of an hour and a half there training. But look, you have to have some laughs and jokes. Can't be all serious, you know. We're in a county final, so have to be happy enough about it.
It's funny, I was driving down from Navan and I came through Nobber, and your near neighbours, they're playing in the Meath junior final and they've got the bunting and everything up and they're getting ready for their junior final. Came through King's Court, you are in the senior final, no bunting up yet.
Yeah, they must have to get their fingers out yet, but look, they have plenty from last year and actually from 2012 and that, so it shouldn't be long before they have it out.
Barry, as well as that, just looking at the team, it seems to be a stronger panel you have this year, and then looking at the game the last night, Philip Smith came on towards the end of that game and looks like he's getting fit. Yourself, you're starting to really get back to your top playing that you've been known for over the last few years, so this is a seriously strong squad you have in King's Court.
Yeah, in fairness it is. Like, we've men pushing there that from outside the club you'd be thinking they should be starting, likes of Phil Tinley there, Mossy Malone. To have them boys coming on just shows that the panel's getting stronger each week. Joe Dillon coming back, we know we mightn't have him now for the final, fingers crossed, but yeah, look, the panel very strong. We have 23 or 4 players that could easily be starting Sunday week, so.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Dillon and the sending off. That has to be seen yet by the committee, I believe, and they'll make a decision on whether they're going to make an appeal on that or whatever. But you still, even if he's not there, he wasn't there for most of the championship so far, and you have still got through.
Well, that's true, yeah. And look, if we don't have him, as we said, Philly Smith is getting back close to full fitness, so he can slot straight in at full forward. Mossy Malone also is another option, could come into the full forward line. You know, it's good to have them options, so you know, we'll just take it as it comes.
Barry, best of luck in the senior final, and we hope you get your place on that team, because it's a strong team. It's hard to get in there, so it is, and if you do, hope you have a great game.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Well done, Barry.
So Barry Tully there from King's Court. Damien, he's vice captain of the team this year as well. He's been out for quite a bit of the year.
Yeah, he's been staggering back from injury, you know, and as he said himself, the week in, week out was really taxing, really tolling on his body and on the team itself. But it also it was an advantage and a disadvantage, because it gave lads the chance to come back from some injuries, and then the other end it probably hurt some of them. Yeah. But the 2-week gap now, they're quite confident that that's going to help them.
Yeah, definitely, and they managed to get a couple more players in that have been carrying injuries. The quarter-final, semi-final, you know, they really used that time to get some good players back into the get 60 minutes of football into them, you know, so they should have most of these players back.
They should indeed. The next up, you spoke to the captain of the King's Court team, Alan Clark, who of course was in this position last year going in as captain, and the last time they won it as well, so an inspirational leader. But we'll roll to the video of Alan.
Delighted to be joined by the King's Court captain, Mr. Alan Clark. Alan, back in the final after the disappointment of last year, how does it feel?
Great. It's always good to get to a county final. We've got to a couple of them, won 1, lost 2, so hopefully third time lucky.
Yeah, the disappointment of those 2 that you lost, and the fact that you lost that one last year under, you know, after putting in absolutely everything, did that drive you on this year to win another championship?
Definitely, yeah. We were very disappointed coming out of Breffni Park last year, there's no doubt about that. It did drive us on, but you know, we made a hard work even to get there this year, so we've a lot of games played, and we're looking forward to it now.
Alan, you weren't involved with the county team this year for the first time in many years, so it was, you had been captain of the county team last year. Did that help you with training with the lads, or did you find that you weren't as fit as you probably would have been had you done the county training?
Yeah, I'd say a lack of fitness at the start of the year anyway, and I suppose it kind of continues on. With the county, it's very structured, you know, training when your games are going to be more or less the whole way through until you come to championship, and it's up to you after that to decide when your games are going to be. With the club, it's very scattered. The league starts very early, the Breffni League, the proper league, and then you come into championship time in August. You know, you even have a lot of football played prior to your championship starting. but it's spread over maybe 7 or 8 months. But one thing for sure with Kingston this year, we don't have to complain about the championship. We're getting plenty of games.
That's for sure. I was just going to go on to that as well. 10 games in the championship. This will be your 10th. You have 9 played already, and I don't think have you played that many championship games before this?
No, it's a funny one, but it's great. It gives us a bit of a chance to get a bit of momentum going, I suppose. Get lads back from injury, from travelling. It's funny, lads can spend a summer in Australia and still play or in America and still play club championship. So in one way it suits us this year, and if we could just close out the season now with a win, it'd be great.
You'd be one of the veterans on the King's Court team at this stage. Am I allowed to say that without saying that you're old? But there is a certain crop of views, the likes of yourself, Thomas Wakely, Philip Smith. You should be
not even in that category with them boys.
It's a different category.
Wakely and Philly Smith are on their own.
But there is a group of yous that are around a similar age, the older guys in the group, but you have a serious amount of young talent coming through as well.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bunch. We have young lads, P.R. Corrigan there playing with minors. We've a nice blend, we feel, youth of experience. I suppose we've played in county finals, which is always good. We've a bit of experience, but losing 2 of them is not the best experience in the world. Some of us have county medals from 2010, but we'd like another one.
Yeah, they say it takes losing one to win one. And do you think that will be an omen for you going into the senior final?
Yeah, well, I suppose the big thing from our point of view is, the older lads might get another chance and the younger lads might get another chance. As you said before, 2010, Mossy Malone and Tommy Wakely and these boys had played in 99 or been part of a panel, and they didn't get a chance for nearly 20 years again. So that's a big thing, So we try to instill that in the whole panel, whether you're only breaking onto the senior team or you're coming near the end of the line. They're not going to come around too much more.
Niall Lynch is a huge part of what's happened over the last couple of years with the King's Court team, and he's the senior manager obviously as well. What is it about Niall Lynch that can drive you on and put you even through 10 championship matches this year?
Patience of a saint. We're not the easiest lads to manage. We get good numbers here and we do train hard when we're here, but we can be a bit awkward at times. So in fairness,
to mention who's the awkward.
We're all awkward. But in fairness to Niall, we held it together. Those times during the year where it wasn't always going that well, we had our ups and downs. He always came back and give us the reasons why we were going to be where we were going to be on Sunday week, and his experience alone, Niall has won a championship in 2012 with Mullahoran, and that stood to him as well. It was no plain sail for Mullahoran. They were underdogs probably in every game they played, and I suppose that helped us because we would never win as favourites in most of the games, even this year, which in one way it's great for us, but another way Niall has to build us up and make sure that we know that we can win the games, which he has.
And I suppose looking forward to the final, your opponents Castlereagh, you'd know plenty of them, you'd know most of them anyway, and you've played football with the county team with a number of them players as well. What's it going to take to beat Castlereagh?
Well, serious effort, 60 minutes, perform for the whole 60 minutes, rather 65 minutes maybe. We know that they're a very fit team. They have good, skillful forwards. They're a very balanced team. Other teams might have 1 or 2 star players, and you can kind of allow for that. Castlereagh have more of a balanced team, which and they're all very fit, which is it's a good starting point in any team. But we'll concentrate on ourselves, and hopefully that'll be enough to get us through.
And looking at both of your paths to the final, you probably have had similar paths to the final in that you are just peaking at the right time. You both of you kind of flattered to deceive early in the championship, but you have gradually got better, and both of you had injury concerns as well. But players are coming back, and you play a very similar style of football. So it's going to be a cracking final by the sounds of things.
Yeah, well, sure. It doesn't really matter what type of final it is as long as we win.
So that was Alan Clark, Kings Court captain, talking to Micky on the press night up in Kings Court. Just a quick word of fair play to Kings Court. They had it very well organised, got it early in the week done. They were very hospitable when we landed up. So thanks to all the Kings Court club and to the Castlereagh club for accommodating us as well.
From talking to Alan there, very relaxed. They're used to it. They've been here last year. They won a senior championship
2012.
2012. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of knock over from that team and whatever. So, you know, they were very calm. There was a bit of crack as well. And, you know, they all just seemed very relaxed and as you said, so hospitable. And there was a great crowd up at the training session.
Yeah, nice atmosphere. To see them, they didn't look like there was nerves. They were just finishing the training session as we were landing. There was a bit of crack, a bit of slagging, a bit of banter. They were trying to kick ball through the gate as you come up the tunnel. None of them managed to do it, which for me now is a telltale sign.
Yeah. Well, look, maybe this week they'll get it right. You know,
well, see, that's it. Maybe they were maybe it was all part of their savvy bit of a disguise.
I'd say that the manager, Niall Lynch, had
told them to miss.
Lads, just if the boys are watching, make sure, because he's got 30 in a row earlier on. Don't be doing it in front of them again. You know? But
deadly accurate.
That's it.
Speaking of Niall Lynch,
I spoke with Niall Lynch as well, the manager of the King's Court team, and again, very calm, very collected. But as you'll see in this clip that we have of him, he's not taking Castlerahan for granted. So we'll roll to that clip of Niall Lynch.
Joined now by the manager of King's Court, Niall Lynch. Niall, you were in this position last year, although you went the shorter route to the county final. Do you think that the hurt of losing last year's county final is going to push these lads on this year?
It'll certainly play a bearing on how we perform this year, hopefully. I suppose when you stand back, King's Court have actually been in 4 of the last 6 finals. Now, they will feel they haven't got a high enough win rate out of those 4 finals that they were in. And last year, you know, losing by a point is a very tough defeat. Some people say that you'd be better off lose by 10 points. You know, I don't sing off that hymn sheet myself, but when you get to finals, it's incredibly important to win them.
Yeah, and in fairness, last year, you know, everybody felt for you because, you know, you didn't deserve to lose that game, definitely. And it was a moment of brilliance, in fairness, by Micky Ling to win that game.
Look, you have to hand it to Cavan Gaels last year. It would be wrong to say they stole it. They created an excellent chance and they took it and left us with no time on the clock to recover. To be fair, there was no moaning out of King's Court. The players or the club or the families, when we came back to King's Court that night, the families and the parish community, they were extremely proud of the effort that King's Court had put in, because we clearly left everything on the pitch. But I think we've learned from it. We've ground out wins this year, sometimes by a point, and we've held on to leads when we were only a point or 2 up. The weekend was no different, whereas last year, you know, effectively we lost the county final because of our inability to see the game out. But Micheál Ling, it was an excellent score. Like, there's no doubt about it, but we've got leaders in our team, and hopefully we can get to that sort of position where it's a tight game with 10 to go, and we'll see it out, hopefully.
And considering as well last year that you were down to 14 men for the majority of that game, I think it was 12 minutes into the game Pádraig Faulkner was sent off. But then again, looking at your last 2 games, you did lose a man in your last 2 games as well in the second half, but you were able to see out the results as well. Showed a little bit of composure and experience, I suppose. Yeah,
look, experience is vital in these situations, and you have to have leaders on the field. We're disappointed on Sunday that we lost a man. You know, Joe, from our point of view, we haven't really seen exactly what happened, and we were in the process of taking him off the field anyway. Philip Smith was actually on the field by the time the decision came, so we're disappointed to lose a man. It's something that we'll be working on in the final, making sure we keep 15 on the field.
And you were bringing on Philip Smith at the time as well, and you wanted to get Philip Smith game time because he's just coming back from injury as well.
Yeah, Philip's on the way back, and look, to be truthful, Joe, you know, has only really played 3 games in 12 months or maybe 18 months, so you know, they'll both be in better shape by the time we get to the next day, and Philip will be pushing hard now, obviously, to start. And
I suppose looking at it as a whole, you know, this will be your 10th championship match with 2 extra times as well on top of that in 2 of the games. It's a phenomenal story as well, and to go, if you were to go on and win it, I think you'd probably be the first ever team in Cavan to win a senior championship after having played 10 games in the championship.
Well, Micky, we just want to win the championship. If we had to play 14 games, it wouldn't matter. You know, there's guys in this club, Tommy Wakely, Mossy Malone, Gavin Shane and Ryan McCormick, Anthony Corcoran as well. They're on the wrong side of 30. They're probably on the wrong side of 33, and they're anxious to win a medal with the group. You know, and we've stated to the younger fellas, like, you know, you've got to write a right few finals lately, but this doesn't happen every year, and this doesn't happen every era. So we're determined to make the most of it. The fact that it's the 10th game doesn't matter. If it's a draw and there's an 11th game, we'll just be delighted to still be in it. But at this stage, we desperately want to win the final. We've worked hard to get to it. It's been a long year. In fact, it's been a long 2 years, because we won the league final, having lost the championship final last year. So we took a right good break in December and January, and we've been on the go since the first weekend in February. So whatever happens now, we want to go out with the cup.
It's been a long, tough year, but looking at the team, I suppose last week you had named young Sheenan in goals. I believe it's his first ever year playing in goals. You had young Farley was injured, but before the game you changed that, and the Snake came into goals.
Yeah, well, look, at James was the county number 2 goalkeeper this year, and he was declared fit just literally on the morning of the match. Now he has work to do to get himself right again for the next day. Gavin was actually our 5th goalkeeper in the campaign, not all in the championship but across the league and championship this year, with James being away with the county team. We've actually used 5 goalkeepers, so we're spied for choice at the moment in Kingscourt. Goalkeepers.
Plenty of goalkeepers in Kingscourt. And just on a lighter note, in the last thing, as I said to Barry, we arrived in at the end of the training there, and Barry did tell me that it was a good tough training session, but there was great atmosphere, and there was a bit of laughing, there was a bit of joking. You know, the lads are definitely focused, but they were enjoying themselves, and that's good to see as well.
It is, but look, when you're playing football with your friends and you're in a championship final, sure, where else would you want to be on a Tuesday night in September? Like, I would have felt in this last number of years involved in football, you generally start off training on cold winter nights, and if you're still training when the cold nights come again, it's been a good year.
So that was Niall Lynch talking to Micky up in Kingscourt, and I suppose Niall at this stage is more than used to county finals, obviously having won it with Mullahoran and then in the county final last year with Kingscourt. You know, the process is completely normal to him, you know, and you can see it in the way he's talking there. He's relaxed, he knows what he's about, he knows what he has to do, he's got his mind focused on it. But I suppose then to reverse that over to Michael Riley, first time as manager of a team going into a senior county final, and he's actually quite relaxed as well. Like, he doesn't seem to be fazed by the whole thing. So it's going to be so interesting between these two teams. Give us your opinion, Micky, on where the game can be won and lost.
Well, it's again, I think the strength of Kingscourt, depending on the day, should be the difference, I think, on the day. And not only that, but having lost the final last year, from speaking to them, they were in jovial mood, they were having a bit of crack and the whole lot. But when you mentioned last year's final to those lads up,
the teeth grinded a wee bit.
The teeth grinded a little bit, and they were, and does the hurt of losing the championship final last year drive you on? Yeah, you know, that was straight away. It does, and not only that, but they've had to play 9 championship games with 2 games
extra
time as well to get to this final. Who's going to want it more? Obviously both teams are going to want it on the day, but I just think that the hard work, Niall Lynch is going to have it, you know, in the psyche of these players. You know, look at how hard you've had to, you know, go at this year. He's had to play 9 games. He's going to lose 1 game. He's only have 1 more to go. You know, that's going to be a driving force. And the final loss last year, I think it's going to be very close. I think we could be looking at a similar difference between the teams as the intermediate final, maybe 2 points, maybe between 1 and 3 points in favour of Kingscourt. Sorry, and I'm saying probably 112 to 110 or something.
Right.
Kingscourt.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be outrageous close. From my point of view, I'm going to say I think there's a draw on this one. I genuinely believe that there's going to be very little between them. I think if Castlereagh get off to an early lead, Kingscourt are going to have to kick long range points to win the game. But they have that in the shed. Yeah. They've got Barry Riley can kick from 45 yards and a couple more. So that for me is going to be the difference. If Kingscourt get an early lead, I can see Castlereagh coming back and chalking away at that lead with the speed. So I think it's going to be a draw, and I could actually see it though. In my head, it's going to go one way. At the first 15 minutes, it's going to be gung-ho. Yeah. So it's one game I'm going to tell people, don't be late for. Do not miss the first 15 minutes of this game, because both teams are going to go hell for leather in the first 15 minutes. Get out and try and get in front. And if one of them is only 1 point in front, it could go on the whole way through the game, and therefore could be a classic. It could be a real high-scoring game. But I personally think one team will get in front. I don't know which team will get 4 or 5 points in front. No, sorry, not 4 or 5, 3 points maybe in front, and then try to hold that lead and hold it the whole way through. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game actually, and I could see it being. I'm going to go for 10 points each.
10 points each.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm picking King's Court. It could very easily go Castlerahan's way if Cian Mackey is on form, if Cian McEnroe is on form as well for Castlerahan. Like if King's Court were to get a little bit of a lead and sit back and try to hold it.
Oisin O'Connell is the man we've kind of neglected to talk about, but he's probably been the most consistent performer so far.
Absolutely, but if you have Cian Mackey pulling the strings against a King's Court team that have retreated and tried to hold a lead, and you've got Cian Mackey around the 45-metre line doing his little jinx, taking a little solo, and then driving at them, pulling them out of position, and finding someone like Oisin O'Connell inside. It really is so hard to call, but I'm just going to go with the experience of King's Court and the fact that they lost last year's final by 1 or 2 points.
Possibly. It's like you look at the draws 1 or 6-1, and the chances of a draw are probably they're hard to come by. But I can't separate the teams. I genuinely can't. I usually don't sit on the fence. In fairness, it's the first time this year in a championship final that I've sat on the fence. But it's.
I think you said Arva last week by a point, did you?
No. I said Ballyhaise by a point. Ballyhaise by a point. Yeah.
Susan said by 3 points. I said by 3, and
Niall said Arva by 2. Yeah. So, but no. Look, it's set up to be an absolutely brilliant final. A quick word about there's a minor final on before it, and that's Ramor United are in their 3rd consecutive final, and they're taking on Lara, who were beaten in the Division 2 League final, but beat Southern Gales in the semi-final. So this is going to be a very good game too. 2 attacking teams that will go out and just go hell for leather, and they're blessed with beautiful forwards, really, really talented, skillful, pacey forwards. If you can get in early, do get in early. I'm not telling you if, I'm telling you do. Get in early, 1 o'clock.
Like on Sunday gone, Ballinyan Den was a cracker of a minor game. And we're going to have the same again, if not better, with the A final. That was the C final as well, and the standard was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So we wish Ramor and Lara the best of luck, and obviously Castlerahan and King's Court.
Absolutely. I'm just going to write down the scores. What did you say?
10 points each.
10 points each, and I said 112 to 110 in favour of
King's Court.
I can see goals in that game.
Yeah, be interesting. I just want to do, anybody who didn't read the programme from this week, my preview of the C final, the minor C final, said, I think the opening line was, you're going to see goals in this game. And I was right.
Well, I have it here.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. But I think... I don't know where it is. It's definitely written on it. Yeah. To say so.
Goals in this game.
So look at, I was right. The guru for once. I'm wrong a lot, but I was right that time, so I want to point it out. Look at our thanks. Indeed.
If anybody wants to send in congratulations to Jamie,
indeed.
So
that brings us to the end of this week's show. Remember, if you want to get in contact with us, we'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter @GaelicFV.
Our thanks to our backroom staff this week of Brian Daly, and of course he was joined by Paul Cox this week as well, and also to the King's Court and Castlerahan clubs for their hospitality over the last week in getting all the interviews done, and they did go out of their way to help us out as well. So we'd like to thank them both and wish them best luck.
And on top of that, on wearecavan.com, on the podcast section, you will hear the audio interviews, which are different interviews than Micky done. I was up doing audio interviews as well, so you'll hear all of them on the podcast section on wearecavan.com during the week, so do tune into them. We're also available on iTunes, the podcast section, so please do. We're actually, would you believe, Micky, the 8th most popular podcast in Ireland on iTunes at the minute. So if we can get that up, if you can subscribe to us on iTunes, if you're on the iPhone or an iPad, we'd be delighted. It'd be a big favour, so thanks very much. So that's all she wrote.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. So until next week, it's good night from me, and
God bless.